The Yugo Temple complex in Cambodia is perhaps the most stunning ancient ruins on Earth. It covers an area of more than 400 acres and is composed of approximately 10 million stones. The stones were intricately carved and stacked to form temples, terraces, and galleries. In comparison, Yugo Caves covers an area 3 times that of Pundi Gangchang and is composed of 4 times more stones than the Great Pyramid of Giza. No wonder the famous Lotus Tower at Yugo Wat is emblazoned on the Cambodian flag. However, for much of the second half of the 20th century, the site was studied by those hoping to unravel its many mysteries, limited or entirely prevented by the country's ongoing conflicts and civil wars. In fact, large-scale study of the site did not resume until the 21st century. But when the research really got underway, the mystery began to emerge that was far more complicated than anyone could have imagined. In 1860, a French explorer named Henri Mueo was traveling in the unknown interior of Cambodia. Samples were collected and information recorded about the site, which at the time was almost completely unknown in the West. One day, Mueo noticed a rare butterfly flying in the air. He started chasing it, too excited to notice that its chase took it deep into the jungle, away from its traveling party. Soon, Mueo got lost. In a panic, he began to chop off vines and overgrown leaves with a machete, desperate to find a way back to the group. Suddenly, the jungle opened up before him, opening up into a clearing. What stood before him was the most astonishing sight he had ever seen in his life. Elephant, a huge stone structure extending in all directions to the sky. A huge complex, overgrown with jungle, it has been abandoned for who knows how long. Standing in front of him was the long-lost Angkor Wat. Today, I will tell you this story. A lone explorer accidentally stumbles upon the massive ruins of Angkor Wat, a place similar to Indiana. Bear's characters discover a secret long lost deep in the jungle. Although Mueo did visit Angkor Wat in 1860, the site was not long lost. Although it has been abandoned for centuries, it has always been known to locals, fishermen. It is still used occasionally by farmers and monks. In fact, Mueo was not even the first European to pay attention to the site. In 1589, nearly 3 centuries before Mueo's visit, a Portuguese friar named Antonio de Madalena Schur was taken to Angkor Wat during his trip to Cambodia. He wrote a famous account in which he said that the architecture of Angkor Wat is so extraordinary that it is impossible to describe it with pen, especially because it is unlike any other building in the world. It has towers and decorations, and all the refinements that human genius can conceive of. Although this statement was not widely circulated in Europe at the time, it was discovered by Mueo a few centuries later. Just as he was inspired by emerging European accounts of exploration in Southeast Asia, this mysterious region was then known to Europeans. It's as simple as transcending India. In fact, Mueo was so inspired that he decided to leave his comfortable life and jump on a ship to the other side of the world. On April 27, 1858, 31-year-old Mueo set sail from London to Bangkok. There he would begin an expedition into the remote interior of mainland Southeast Asia. For 3 years he explored territories unknown to Europeans, traveling with local lanes on fishing boats, travel by horse, bullock cart, and even elephant, hike through the jungle multiple times, and sleep in a hammock between 2 trees every night. All along, he meticulously recorded everything he encountered, including the location, writings, and observations of people, animals, and plants. In 1860, Mueo was finally brought to Yugo Cave by his lane. No, he didn't get there by chance. He wasn't chasing a butterfly in the jungle, and this location wasn't a long-lost location. However, this does not reduce the shocking effect of Yugo Grotto on Mueo. In his notes, he wrote that the moment the complex is first glimpsed, the Yugo Cave presents itself to the traveler's mind. The sight before his eyes made him forget all the fatigue from the journey, and he was filled with admiration and joy, as if he had found an oasis in the desert. sleep. Suddenly, as if by magic, he seemed to move from barbarism to civilization, from darkness to light. Of the central temple with its lotus tower, he wrote that one of the temples rivaled that of Solomon, built by the ancient twisting Longipur. It may take its place among our most beautiful buildings, more magnificent than anything Greece or Rome has left us. As he began to explore the site, he marveled at the craftsmanship, writing, with the red tail of these red tail buildings, as regular as they are beautiful, what astonishes the observer is the astonishing number of huge stone blocks from which these buildings are built. How much transportation and workers are needed? There are stones everywhere, and they are put together in such a perfect way that you can barely see the wind. There were no signs of mortar or chisels, and the surface was as smooth as marble. But Mo wanted to know who built this incredible complex. His curiosity is clear in his notes, and this incomparable building is a work of genius. Did he conceive the idea and oversee its execution? It's easy to think so because there's no flaw, error, or inconsistency in any part of it. In what era did it originate? As mentioned before, neither traditional nor written name books provide any information on this point. Over the course of several months, Moao took detailed notes on covered paper, which was European. Even Madalena had never done it before. He documented his layout and architectural features, from terraces and embankments to porticos and galleries, in writings and drawings, and the incredible carvings that cover the entire site. Although Mao died of a fever during his trip in 1861, his detailed records of Angkor Wat inspired research from Europe, and archaeologists from around the world travel to Cambodia to explore this mysterious site for themselves. Although he did not rediscover it, as popular stories have it, Mu's work at Angkor Wat inspired interest in the site. Flow research. The discoveries made by archaeologists since the beginning of the research have been astounding. With an influx of archaeologists in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Angkor Wat, they soon realized, was facing none other than the largest religious complex in the world. Angkor Wat is more than just its groundbreaking lotus tower, which towers 200 feet above the surrounding landscape. It is also a complete complex of buildings covering an area of more than 400 acres, equivalent to the size of 300 American football fields. It is surrounded by a moat that stretches 1 mile by 3/4 of a mile. Within this complex, there are many smaller temples, along cruciform terraces and connected galleries, huge pillars and statues, all covered with incredible stone carvings depicting Indian mythology. Scenes of imperial conquest and the natural world. The entire complex, consisting of approximately 10 million blocks, weighs 1. It is built with 5 tons of stone blocks. The stones were brought to the site from a quarry approximately 25 miles northeast. The more details the researchers uncovered, the more surprised they were at the level of understanding of Angkor Wat's advanced architecture. This level of understanding has kept Angkor Wat going for centuries. On the one hand, the huge moat not only serves as a barrier to protect the complex, it is also specifically designed to reduce the risk of damage from the huge accumulation of stones, pressure pushing outward. Without this moat, Angkor Wat would have collapsed long ago. Additionally, in the jungle area where Angkor Wat was built, annual flooding and drought seasons caused the ground to expand and contract. To solve this problem, the builders of Angkor Wat made diversions to alter the water table and geological composition beneath the complex. This prevents it from sinking under its own weight, allowing it to effectively float on changing foundations. It's worth a century. As researchers discover Angkor Wat's incredible features, they are also working to construct its history. Through detection years, archaeological analysis, and a review of rare surviving historical documents from the area, they noted the Khmer Empire arose in Cambodia in the 9th century AD and grew over the centuries to become the most powerful empire in the region. Researchers say Angkor Wat was built by the Khmer king Surya Patmos II between 113 and 150 AD, as a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu. Since then, Angkor Wat has become the physical and spiritual capital of the Khmer people and the heart of a powerful empire. Until the empire gradually declined due to various reasons, it was abandoned and Angkor Wat was slowly swallowed by the jungle. Until Hung died, Mu Ao's visit brought the world's archaeologists to his door. As the official explanation was released, many were skeptical. Some people wonder how the Khmer could have built Wu in just 37 years without the help of modern technology. Grottos, while at the same time the great powers of Europe took centuries to build their famous cathedrals. One estimate concluded that if the Khmer people worked from sunrise to sunset every day for 37 years, they would have to feed, transport, cut and place a ton of stone every minute, non-stop. It will take 37 years to complete the mission. For many people, this is obviously not possible. Others ask, if Angkor Wat was built by a great empire that restored its vastness and authority for hundreds of years, so why is its design and scale so unique in the region? If the Khmer Empire built Angkor Wat, why didn't they copy its design elsewhere in their vast empire? However, there is no other building like Angkor Wat in Cambodia and surrounding countries. Furthermore, no other place in the region rivals Angkor Wat in its scale. Wouldn't future Khmer rulers after Suryapatama II build larger and more magnificent complexes to establish their power? By the middle of the 20th century, mainstream science had declared the case closed. Angkor Wat is a magnificent temple complex that took 37 years to build under the Khmer Empire, about 900 years ago. But for others, the mystery is just beginning. Until the 21st century, more than 150 years after Henry and Mueo first aroused widespread interest in Angkor Wat, the true depth of the mystery is finally being revealed. Ever since the official explanation of the Khmer Empire and Angkor Wat emerged, researchers have tried to learn more about the empire and its supporting civilization. However, for decades they have made little progress. The problem is that the area around Angkor Wat is remote and covered in dense jungle, making on-site archaeological work almost impossible. Furthermore, historical records of the region are almost non-existent. With centuries of conflict destroying archives, the tropical climate of the hot tide city has long been the degradation of the recorded palm leaves literature. But that all changed in 2012, thanks to archaeologists Damian Evans and Roland Fletcher. That year, the two men led a project that would use something called a light detection and measurement tool, LiDAR or LiDAR scanning, uses advanced airborne scanning technology to see through the jungle surrounding Angkor Wat. For weeks, the team flew in helicopters every day, flying hundreds of miles around the complex, used LiDAR to fire millions of laser pulses into the jungle below. Sensors on the helicopter then pick up laser light reflected from the jungle floor, allowing researchers to map the terrain's unique features. Levy. What they discovered shocked them and sent the archaeological community into a frenzy. Angkor Wat was not originally located in the jungle as it is today, but was located in a huge, low-density urban center. Hidden beneath the jungle are the remains of a vast network of roads, housing estates and shrines, canals and dry ponds, and thousands of rice fields surrounded by the narrow banks of the river. In fact, the network stretches over 600 square miles and, in the words of National Geographic, this makes the urban area equivalent to the size of modern Los Angeles, making it one of the largest settlements in human history. No less than the cities of the Industrial Revolution. Researchers concluded that nearly 1 million people once lived in this area. It was an astonishing discovery, an exciting metropolis far beyond what anyone in the region could have imagined. Damian Evans asserts that the study provides lifetime data in just a few weeks. However, as Rada's research continued, the details about the lost metropolis became more startling. In the 1950s and 1960s, a French archaeologist named Bernard-Philippe Grosser used aerial archaeology to try to reconstruct the ancient canal system that surrounded Hugo and provide him with a huge moat. His work revealed a system so complex that Bourrier dubbed Hugo Caves a hydraulic city. But it wasn't until 2012, with the advent of Evans and Fletcher, that the stunning scope of this water system only then did it become clear. They used LiDAR to map the water supply system of the entire urban area of Angkor Wat. Incredibly, researchers have mapped a wide range of hydrological systems. These systems manage, store, and disperse water from 3 separate rivers and nearby lakes, used throughout urban areas. The scale and capabilities of this system are unfathomable. Rivers and creeks have been groomed and transformed into more than 10 miles of canals and channels 130 to 200 feet wide. At the same time, a huge system of levees spanning hundreds of miles directs water to where it is needed. Huge reservoirs called burris, the largest of which were 5 miles long, were used to store water and built a vast network of walls for rice farming. With this water supply system, a sloping rice terrace landscape is formed with an independent water supply system, can protect urban areas from the effects of drought. But more than that, the water system was obviously built to provide transportation through the city and domestic water supply for sanitation facilities. In addition, the water supply system includes many ponds and channels filled with odor, which serve as a further source of food for the city's residents. It is admitted that Angkor Wat is an advanced ancient water conservancy city, far beyond Burris's original imagination. It is the only water supply system on Earth. However, this is not the most incredible thing that researchers have discovered at Angkor Wat. As researchers like Evans and Fletcher look more closely at the area around Angkor Wat, while they are all secrets of a huge urban area, others are looking for the secrets inside the Angkor Wat complex. As all this was happening, discoveries began to emerge that revealed that the construction of Angkor incorporated astonishing astronomy and cosmology. Learn to consider. First, the entire temple complex was built to represent the universe in Hindu cosmology. The center of this universe is the cosmic mountain Mebu, represented by the tallest lotus tower in the center of Angkor Wat. The walls surrounding the main temple represent the mountains at the edge of the world, while the moat represents the cosmic sea where life originated. In this way, anyone who enters Angkor Wat will experience an earthly version of the divine journey to enlightenment in Hindu mythology. From the starting point of the journey of enlightenment across the cosmic sea, through the obstacles that must be overcome in the sacred mountain, finally go to Shumi Mountain and achieve the real thing. It is really an amazing thing to use millions of tons of stones to create a paradise on Earth. However, it is not just the Indian Education Weekly that went into the construction of Angkor Wat, but also many advanced astronomical details. Visitors will notice that if they stand at the entrance to the complex, the sun will rise perfectly in the center at the equinox, above the Lotus Tower. But in fact, it's much more than that. Perhaps the most famous piece of art in the entire Angkor Wat complex is a massive 160-foot-long carving. It depicts the Hindu story of the churning of the ocean of milk in Mahabharata. In the carvings, there are 88 gods and 91 demons, all of which are life-size statues. They pulled a thin, stirring rope on the shaft in the center, while the leather corpse crossbow sat in the center. The carving itself is an amazing work of art. But archaeologists Eleanor Manica and others pointed out that this carving and its placement in the complex were not accidental. Instead, the carving is positioned like a giant calendar, counting the days between the winter and summer solstices. The churning shaft in the middle of the carving, where the leather corpse crossbow sits, represents the vernal equinox, while the 91 demons on one side represent the period from the vernal equinox to winter, the 91 days of the solstice, and the 88 gods on the other side represent the 28 days from the spring equinox to the summer solstice. This carving effectively counts the days of the year as the sun passes through it. Similar to their understanding of Indian educational cosmology, the builders of Ugaku also referred to the movements of the sun and moon, directly integrated into the measurement of the building complex. For example, consider the external axial dimensions of the central tower at its highest point, 189 in the east-west direction. 0, axis. The north-south direction is 176, 37 axes. Adding these two numbers gives us 365, 37, almost equal to the length of a solar surface. In addition, the central tower of Ugalku has 9 interiors, each with a total size of 27 axes in the north-south direction, 28 axes in east-west direction. Why is this important? Because the moon has a 27-day orbit, it appears to pass through 27 consecutive areas of the sky during that time. In Indian Education Weekly, these areas are called moon mansions, and depending on the context, their number can be 27 or 28. In other words, while the top of the central tower reflects the orbit of the sun, the rooms below reflect the orbit of the moon. Road. In short, the Angkor Wat complex was built not just to express cosmological and astronomical significance, but it is also to express the greater celestial order. While many ancient sites share similar features, few can see so much detail in one place. Was the Khmer Empire really more advanced than historians imagined? There is one more thing that must be mentioned, which is the last detail about the layout of Angkor Wat. It has been confirmed that all buildings in the Angkor Wat complex are perfectly aligned with the 4 cardinal points on the compass using GPS and accuracy. Together. How is this possible if Angkor Wat was built by the Khmer Empire about 900 years ago? No compass at that time could achieve such a level of accuracy. Take a step back and look at everything we've discussed so far about Angkor Wat, a stunning memory built using millions of stones, an advanced water system spanning the largest pre-industrial urban area on Earth. System and demonstrated astronomical and cosmological precision in its design and layout. It's clear that Angkor Wat is one of the most stunning ruins on Earth. In fact, not only are these achievements impressive when you step back, but when you step in, same thing. Ever since he first entered engineering in the 1860s, Angkor Wat has been an object of wonder, especially his carvings. Simply put, these carvings are everywhere, on walls and pillars, on doors and ceilings, even on the exterior of the building. Although Angkor Wat is the largest temple in the world, every inch of it is covered with sculptures, even in places that are not easily visible. Some of the sculptures are very large, like the churning ocean of milk, while others are very small. It can only be seen clearly if you look closely at its intricate details. Throughout the complex, there are more carvings than one could ever hope to examine in detail in a lifetime. But as different people gradually began to look at the carvings more closely, they began to notice something extremely strange. One of them is independent researcher and famous YouTube personality Praveen Mohan. During his 2021 study of Angkor Wat, he discovered more than one inexplicable carving. In these carvings, he personally inspected every inch of the temple. Sure enough, he found that there were carvings everywhere, even outside the temple, in places where people could not see them. Carve. But there are even more astonishing discoveries, starting with a carving of the sun god Surya, the Hindu incarnation of the sun. The carving below Surya is 9 numbers, representing the 9 planets of our solar system, including Mura, and their orbit around the sun. This is a beautiful piece of art. However, there's just one problem. Jupiter wasn't officially discovered until 1930, and it cannot be seen without a high north telescope. In fact, Neptune, The eighth planet in our solar system wasn't discovered until the 1840s. The seventh planet, Uranus, was not discovered for the first time until 1781. These discoveries were made long ago after the Wuga grottos were built. How did the builder of Wugu Cave know that there were 9 planets orbiting the Sun? Mohan suggested that the answer to this question might be hidden in other carvings, one of which depicts the god Ayindhara. The central scene is Inji and a 3-headed elephant named Burj al-Arab. At the base of the carving, a man appears to be watching the scene unfold through a telescope. He stood with a cylindrical device fixed over one eye to deform his nose. The other eye was closed. Did the builder of Wugu Cave know that there are 9 planets? It's because they saw them through telescopes. Please note that according to history books, the telescope was not invented until 1608. This is nearly 500 years since the Wuga grottos were built. So how is this possible? That's not all. Elsewhere, Mohan noticed a carving depicting a flag-bearing elephant with 4 tusks. While some believe this is a description of a mythological scene, Mohan and others point out that the tetratusk did exist in 2 million years ago. In fact, these 4-tusked elephant fossils have been found in Southeast Asia, not far from Cambodia. Did the builders of Muge Cave already know about these animals before the fossils were officially discovered? So, how is it done? Other researchers have discovered even stranger things at the Angkor Town Temple, part of the city's downtown area. This is a small temple less than 2 miles away from Mako Cave. A carving there seems to depict a Jianlong dinosaur clad with 4 tusks on an elephant. This is deliberately understood among the animals known to the region. But dinosaurs are another story entirely. How did the builder of Wugu Cave know about such an ancient creature? As more and more such inexplicable carvings are discovered, many people begin to ask questions. Is the Mako Caves really 900 years old and built by the Khmer Empire? If so, where did they get all this advanced knowledge, architecture and hydraulics, astronomy and long-extinct animals? Is it possible that the Khmer Empire never built Mako Wat at all? If they didn't, then who built it? Is there a civilization that predated the Khmer Empire and was the real builder? So where did they go? What else do they know? In 1934, when a team of archaeologists led by Jean Convenir were conducting research in the main chamber of the central tower of Moko Caves, I stumbled upon a well buried deep in the foundation beneath a large Buddha statue. The statue is not original but was added by generations of Khmers after their empire converted to Buddhism. The well seems to have been covered on purpose. But why? Convenir and his team slowly began removing the centuries-old debris that had filled the well, and discovered that the well was much deeper than they had imagined. At a depth of 50 feet, they encountered a water table that flooded the tree well. But they brought pumps and kept digging. After their efforts, at a depth of just over 70 feet, they found a broken stone box blocking their way. There is a strange circular cutout on the top of the stone box. In this incision, they found a 65-gram gold leaf. Researchers are curious what this might be. But Convenir and his team didn't explore the issue further. Instead, they completed their work and returned to Europe without recording any further details, and the stone chest itself was mysteriously missing. As modern-day exploration of Ugku's secrets continues, some have revisited Khamer's discovery, asked questions and try to piece together clues. At the top of the central tower of Ugukku, there is a hole that lets in sunlight. Some people believe that the process of sunlight passing through the cave entrance and shining along the shaft onto the stone box may be part of some kind of solar device. The sun's rays interact with this mysterious stone box to generate and store energy. Although this theory may seem far-fetched at first glance, Its proponents point out that as early as Henry, ancient records that predate Mueo seem to provide evidence of how this solar system worked. In 1296 AD, a Chinese diplomat, Zhou Daguan, visited Ukku during the height of the Khmer Empire. As a guest of the Khmer king, he stayed there for nearly a year. Although he was not the first Chinese to visit Ukku, he was the first to describe the city and its people in detail. His seminal work Cambodian Customs is the only known written record in the world at the time. In Zhou Daguan's narrative, he mentioned some incredible things. He wrote that there is a golden pagoda in the center of the city, with more than 24 stone pagodas on both sides, and more than 100 stone pagodas. According to Zhou Daguan, the Lotus Tower in the center of Ukku was made of gold, or covered with gold. This came as a surprise to those who had speculated that ancient Uggul had a solar installation. If there is indeed some kind of solar device buried in Ukku's central tower, there must be a way to harvest this energy. Gold is one of the most conductive materials on Earth. If the central tower is indeed gilded as Zhou Daguan suggests, could this have something to do with energy projection? Here, many people associate Ukku with the works of famous inventors Nikola and Tesla. Tesla developed a device called the Tesla Tower in the early 20th century. There is a large conductive metal ball on the top, which only extracts energy from the earth and transmits it to the sky. This energy is accessible to individual receivers around the world. Is it possible that Ukku is doing something similar? In 2015, the theory about the ancient electrical UG was further developed, thanks to Bamian LiDAR research by Evans and Rowan Fletcher. That year, they discovered that there was a huge structure in the shape of a huge spiral beneath the Ukku complex, about 5,000 feet long. After reviewing the survey results, Evans and Fletcher were stunned. This giant spiral was unlike anything they had ever seen before. Nor do they know its purpose. Fletcher called it the most striking discovery to date related to Ukku. And in their report, the pair write that the linear spiral's massive, unique, and challenging structure has never been recognized before, known, predicted, or hypothesized, but still unable to explain. Look closely at these spirals, aren't they weird? Do they look like they are electrical related? Some have asserted that these spirals must have been part of ancient energy systems, serving as some sort of storage and distribution system for energy. Electricity? As more is learned about spirals in the coming years, will they be able to provide evidence of ancient electrical ugliness? It's questions like these that lead many to believe that Ukku's mysteries may be deeper than mainstream science is currently willing to accept, even more profound than anyone could imagine. Was Ukku really built by the Khmer Empire 900 years ago? Or is it possible that the Khmers just discovered it and used it? In fact, it was built by some other advanced ancient builders long before them. Please note that when Zhou Daguan visited Ukku in 1296, the locals told him, this temple complex was built overnight by a divine architect. His visit occurred less than 150 years after the same empire that Ukku state was said to have visited was built there. If the Khmers built it, would they remember building it? Won't they brag about their achievements to foreign countries? Saying it was built by a divine builder sounds more like a story made up by people who discovered a wonderful structure thing to explain its origin. Why say it was built by someone else unless it really was built by someone else? More importantly, if the Khmers didn't build it, then who built it? Could they really not only know the secrets of astronomy and hydraulics, but also the secrets of energy production? Whatever the answers to these questions, one thing is clear, even in official explanations, Ukku is also one of the most stunning sights on Earth, the remnants of a powerful empire. It was also the center of an advanced city built by ancestors who mastered sophisticated architecture, skills, and precise astronomical knowledge. But perhaps it was not only the home of the Khmer Empire, but also the center of an advanced ancient civilization that had long been forgotten. Research on Ugku continues to this day. Thank you again for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please be sure to follow our channel. See you in the next episode.